The Curious Duckling. In the peaceful pond nestled in the heart of a bustling park, there lived a little duck named Pippin. She waddled happily along the water's edge, her soft feathers glistening in the sunlight, but her mind was full of questions. There was so much about the world around her that she didn't understand: how things worked, how her family managed to thrive, and how she herself would learn to live in the world. One bright morning, Pippin waddled over to her mother, Della, who was calmly floating on the water, her wings tucked in gracefully. "Mom," Pippin called out, her voice full of excitement and curiosity. "I have so many questions today." Della tilted her head slightly and smiled, her warm eyes reflecting the wisdom of many years. "What is it, Pippin?" she asked, her voice calm but inviting. "What's on your mind today?" Pippin sat beside her mother, her small wings fluttering with anticipation. "I want to know everything, Mom. I want to know how you get your food, how we live here in the pond, and how you know what to do every day." Della chuckled softly, her eyes twinkling as she replied, "Well, sweetheart, that's a lot to take in. But I'll tell you everything I can. Come sit close and let's talk." Pippin scooted a little closer, eager to hear her mother's words. "First things first," Della began. "Do you see all the ripples in the water?" Pippin nodded eagerly. "Yes, I see them. I see how the water moves when something touches it." "That's right," Della said with a smile. "The ripples are created by the smallest movements in the water, and we must learn to use those ripples to find food. For us ducks, food often comes from the water." Pippin tilted her head. "But how do we find food in all this water? What if it's too deep?" Della smiled kindly, her eyes soft. "That's why we have our beaks, Pippin. They're not just for looking cute." She nudged Pippin playfully with her wing, making the little duck giggle. "Our beaks are great for sifting through the water and picking out tiny bits of food like bugs, seeds, and plants." Pippin's eyes widened with wonder. "So, the food is already in the water? We just have to look for it." "Exactly," Della said. "We don't have to work too hard for it. The world provides for us if we know how to find it." Pippin took a deep breath, thinking about this new information. "And how do you know where to look, Mom? How do you know which ripples mean there's food?" Della nodded thoughtfully. "It takes practice, Pippin. At first, it might seem like you're just swimming around aimlessly, but as you grow, you'll start to notice patterns in the water. You'll learn how to read the little changes and understand what they mean. It's all about observation." Pippin's mind raced. "So it's like a game? You have to watch and learn the rules." "Exactly," Della said, beaming. "It's a bit like a puzzle. The more you practice, the better you get at finding food." Pippin flapped her wings excitedly. "I want to practice, Mom. I want to learn how to find food just like you." Della nodded. "That's the spirit, Pippin. You'll get there. But there's more to living than just finding food. It's important to take care of yourself and others, too." Pippin looked at her mother, puzzled. "What do you mean, to take care of others?" "Well," Della said slowly, "when we live in a community like this pond, we help one another. We share space, we watch out for each other, and we teach each other how to live. The other ducks here aren't just here for themselves. They care about one another, and that's what makes our home so special." Pippin thought about this for a moment, then asked, "Does that mean I have to take care of others too?" Della smiled warmly. "Yes, in your own way. But remember, taking care of others doesn't always mean doing big things. Sometimes it's just being there when someone needs help, or sharing what you've learned. Like how you teach me about food." Pippin asked, her eyes bright. "Exactly," Della replied. "It's all about passing down knowledge and helping each other grow." Later that afternoon, as Pippin was swimming around, she saw some of the older ducks diving for food. Her curiosity got the better of her, and she paddled over to one of the older ducks, a gentle and patient bird named Opal. "Opal, how do you dive so deep?" Pippin asked, her wings splashing in excitement. Opal looked down at the little duck with a kind smile. "Ah, young one, you want to know the secret, huh?" She fluttered her wings and dived gracefully into the water, emerging moments later with a small piece of food in her beak. Pippin's eyes were wide. "How did you do that? How did you go so deep?" Opal chuckled softly. "It takes practice, Pippin. You see, ducks can hold their breath for a long time. We've learned how to dive and swim beneath the surface to find food that others can't reach. But you have to be careful. Sometimes the deepest parts of the pond are where the danger is. Danger. Pippin's voice trembled slightly. Opal's eyes softened. Yes, sometimes there are predators in the deeper parts of the water. That's why we always stay aware of our surroundings and make sure we're not too far from the safety of the shore. Pippin nodded solemnly. I'll remember that. But it sounds like there's so much to learn. I feel like I'm only scratching the surface. You're right, Opal said kindly. And that's what makes life exciting. You'll keep learning, and every day will bring new experiences. Just be patient with yourself, Pippin. You have plenty of time to grow. Pippin's heart swelled with gratitude. Thank you, Opal. I'll be careful and keep practicing. As the day went on, Pippin continued to swim and practice what her mother and Opal had taught her. But there was still one question lingering in her mind. She paddled over to Della, who was resting on a lily pad nearby. Mom, Pippin began, how do we know when we've learned enough? How do we know when we're ready to take care of ourselves? Della looked at her daughter with a tender expression. You'll never stop learning, Pippin. Life is full of lessons, and each one prepares you for the next. When you feel ready to try things on your own, that's when you'll know. And even then, you can always ask for help when you need it. Pippin's wings fluttered. So it's okay if I don't know everything yet? Della smiled warmly. Of course it's okay, sweetheart. We all start somewhere. And remember, you're never alone. We're all in this together. Pippin felt a sense of peace wash over her as she looked around the pond. The world was big and there was so much to learn. But with her mother's wisdom and the help of the other ducks, she knew she could face whatever came her way. She was ready to dive into the adventure of life. I'm ready, Mom, Pippin said with determination in her voice. I'm ready to learn and grow. Della gave her a proud nod. That's the spirit, Pippin. Let's dive in together, one step at a time. And so, with the support of her family and the lessons she was learning every day, Pippin began her journey through life in the pond. She knew that each day brought new challenges and new joys, but she was no longer afraid of the unknown. With curiosity in her heart and love for those around her, Pippin was ready to face the world and discover the wonders it had to offer.